Hi everybody, we're back at Marty's Market. This is the Integrated Medicine Professionals Meetup for August. And I'm here with Lindsay Smith, I'm always going to say it wrong, it's the Food Mood Girl,
yes.
Not the Mood Food Girl.
Yeah, the food, you can say it either way, but it's the Food Mood Girl.
Okay,
yeah.
So Food Mood Girl, and that's one of your websites, Food Mood Girl.
Yes.
And you're about to start your own YouTube channel, you told me.
Yes.
That's great.
Yeah, a lot of things up and coming with the brand. We're just expanding like crazy, so.
Great.
Yeah.
And tell us a little bit about yourself. What's your background?
So my background is actually in communication from Duquesne University, and then I was just kind of unfulfilled, wanted to help in a different way, so I went back to school for nutrition, and that's kind of where I'm at now. So.
But you've had some great mentors from the integrated medicine field here in Pittsburgh.
Yes.
What's one of your favorite people?
Well, Ted Civic, who, as you know, is a I don't even know his title. He does so many things. I'm always amazed. Like one day I walk in and there's like something new and I'm like, what is this? But he, as a kid, he helps me with anxiety. I suffered from anxiety ever since I was probably first symptoms showing in 3rd and 4th grade. And really I had my first panic attack and was hospitalized in 5th grade. Wow.
So you really have lived this food mood thing.
Oh yeah.
We're not just talking about, like when I was in the Navy, we say I'm in the mood for food.
Yeah.
This is
this is totally different. Yeah, this is.
So tell us what your what your mission is. What do you teach?
Well, this, with junk foods and junk moods and this whole food and mood thing, it was almost a borderline food addiction that I had, in a sense, where really heavily relying on food for any emotion to mask how I was feeling. So if I was sad, happy, whatever kind of energy or whatever type of feeling I had, I would turn to food. And so eventually that took me down a long, windy road because I gained weight, because I got addicted to sugar at a very young age, and then that led to severe panic attacks. I'm sure all of the candies that I was eating had all these kind of food dyes in them that also was not good. So it kind of snowballed from there, and so now, I'm really just passionate about helping people understand the emotional connection, and that a lot of time it's more than just food alone. It's the food, but then there's also the other element, this mind and spirit element. And I was lucky enough and fortunate enough, after my first panic attack in 5th grade, I had a wake-up call. I know a lot of people have those spiritual realizations, but to have one at 11 years old that was like, get your stuff together, Lindsay. Yeah, very young. And we tried everything. We tried different therapies, and nothing was really working for me. I wasn't really meshing with anyone that I worked with. And then that's when I found Ted, and because my sister actually started going to the center, and she had a lot of the same issues. She was 8 years older than me, and I saw this incredible shift in her, and I was like, I want that. Like, here I am feeling these same things. Like, I want that. And so I started working with him as a kid, and just really shifted my life.
So you're going to talk to us about foods for the summer.
Yeah.
Good choices.
We're going to talk a little bit about a couple different things.
Great.
That'll be one of them. But today I kind of just wanted to share, I know as professionals in the field, it's always one of those things, you all know a lot. So there's not much of probably what I'm going to teach you that's so dramatically different. So I figured I would start with kind of sharing a story. I'm a storyteller. I like to tell stories. That's what I do. So I wanted to share kind of the junk food and junk mood story from a practitioner standpoint, because I think it's easy as professionals to kind of get down that a road of when you see people doing the wrong thing and you're just like, why do you keep doing that? You know what I mean? So I kind of want to share that story of how junk foods and junk moods started, and then give you some tips and answer any questions that you may have. So this whole thing started, like I said, when I was 12 years old and diagnosed with anxiety, and I've been on this journey ever since. So I've really lived out this whole food and mood cycle. But when I went back to school for nutrition and I decided that I wanted to help people, I became one of those really, really crazy judgmentals. You know what I'm talking about.
We're going to talk about there's nothing worse than an ex-smoker.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, that's exactly what it was. And it was like...
So an ex-carnivore, ex-junk food junkie.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I would go home and I would be like to my parents, oh my goodness, like as soon as I'd get there, I'd be like in their cabinets, like, what are you eating? Do you not realize this is going to give you cancer? Like all these things. Like I would just go on and on and on. And no one was listening to me. You know, everyone was like, "You are crazy." But I thought I knew everything. Yeah, exactly. But I thought I knew everything. I was like, "Oh, I got this," you know. But I would just judge everyone. So I became this like really crazy judgmental health coach. And it wasn't until this incident happened to me at an airport. So I was going actually to a nutrition conference, and I was really, really excited. There was like 5,000 nutrition. Hello.
Hey, Jen.
There was going to be 5,000 nutrition experts at this conference. And so I'm like all jazzed up. I'm like, we're going to drink kale juice all day. Like, we're going to do yoga. It's going to be awesome. All these nutrition, they get it, you know? So I'm at the airport. I'm like on a high already, like excited about this conference. And I got there because I'm a recovering type A perfectionist. I got there like 2 hours, you know, maybe 3 hours early. And I sit down and I was like, you know what, I'm just going to get started on some writing. So I opened my computer and there was this quiet little spot. There was like 10 tables. No one was sitting there. I was like, this is perfect. So I start writing. I look up. I failed to notice the employee only sign. So I was sitting in the employee section, but I was like, whatever. It doesn't matter. It's all good. No one's going to catch me. All of a sudden, this woman comes out of the employee entrance and she's on her cell phone and she's just screaming. She's like, I hate my life. This place sucks. I hate everyone. And she's just going on and on and on. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, this is, and it was like 7 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, I don't need to deal with this right now. It's 7 o'clock in the morning. Get your stuff together. Like, come on. So she leaves and I'm like, thank goodness. Like, that's someone that was in a junk mood. You know what I mean? So I was like, 10 minutes go by. This woman comes back. Except this time she had a tray full of food. And of the other 10 tables, where do you think she sat? Directly in front of me. Yep. With her plate full of that delicious airport food. Right? So here's this like crazy judgmental health coach mind that's like, do I look at what she's eating or do I not? Do I like try to have peace with my day? Or do I like really kind of call her out and see what's going on here? So of course my computer screen was kind of hiding her plate, but I'm like peeking around trying to like get a glimpse at what she has. And at like 7 in the morning, or I don't even know, I think it was 5, it was even earlier than that, I think it was like 5:30. This woman had on her tray, and I couldn't make this story up if I tried. 7:30 in the morning, she had a large Ben & Jerry's chocolate milkshake with whipped cream on top. As if that wasn't enough, she had a large bowl of ice cream with whipped cream on top. So she had like 2 ice creams going on. Then she had some people are like, every time I tell this story, some people are like, I can deal with that. I'm like, oh, just wait. It gets worse. It gets worse. I promise you. You think that's good now, but it gets worse. So then she pulls out this styrofoam tray, and it has like a huge omelet on it, hash browns, like all this stuff, and then she gets a bottle of ketchup and pours it on like everything. Probably the milkshake too. I don't even know. I'm like, oh my goodness. I'm like, what is this woman doing? And so here I am, like, this is why people have a problem. Like, they don't understand, like, what they're eating, how they're feeling. No wonder she's screaming on the cell phone at someone that, you know, she's close with. No wonder why she hates her job and she's miserable and she's walking around here saying it's because she's eating this food and it's making her feel bad. So I'm like, okay, Lindsay, you don't want to get arrested in the airport, so just calm down. Like, it'll be okay. So I'm like, I'm just going to go back to writing about, like, kale and veggies and fruit smoothies and just, like, forget what she's doing. So then, like 5 minutes go by, 10 minutes go by, and I hear a shuffle. I'm like, do I look or don't I look? I don't know. So I hear it come shuffling around, and I'm like, I have to look. So I like peek over. To my surprise, she pulls up a lunchbox cooler. I could not make this story up. I swear to you, I could not make it up. This is why I wrote the book, is because of this woman. So then she pulls up this lunchbox cooler. I'm like, are you kidding me? Really? More food? Really? Like, you just ate, and then I'm calculating it in my mind. You just ate 4,527 calories and, you know, 82 grams of sugar per, you know, whatever. And this is for the next 10 days. I'm just like going on. I'm like, what is she doing? So at like 7:35 in the airport, she unzips her cooler, and to my surprise, she pulls out 5 prescription medications. And one by one, she puts them down. So at this point, I'm like, are you kidding me? Do you not know that those medications are exactly stemmed from what you're eating? Like, I'm sure you have a cholesterol, a blood pressure, you know, I'm going on and on and on in my mind. And I'm like, what is this? What is she doing? So I'm getting so frustrated, so upset. I like slam my computer down. I'm just like staring at her like it's on. Like I'm just like looking at, and now she thinks I'm the crazy one, I'm sure. You know, here I am like going off in my mind. She's probably like, yeah, this woman's nuts. And I'm literally physically, like I can feel it in my body how mad I am at this woman. So then like 10 minutes goes by and I'm still like staring at her, seriously. She really thinks I'm nuts at this point. And then she pulls up her lunchbox cooler once again. I'm like, are you kidding me? And she starts to open it. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Because she already had everything sitting out. She was going to grab something else. I'm like, more food, more drugs. Like, what could this woman possibly need at this point?
A beer?
A beer? Yeah, exactly. That would just top a beer and a cigarette, right? That would just top it off. But I don't think you could do that in the airport. I don't know. I'd have to see it probably going through the security check. But I'm just like, oh my goodness, like what is this woman doing? So she pulls up her lunchbox cooler once again. And this is the moment that kind of shifted for me and changed the way I viewed food and pretty much enlightened me once again and sparked really my business and where I found the passion to help people, is because she pulled up the lunchbox cooler, and this time, you know, her kind of angry face turned to sadness, and she just kind of sat there, and she just pushed her lunchbox tray and sat back in her seat like she was defeated, like the food had just won. She opens up her lunchbox cooler, she lifts up her shirt, rubs her stomach with alcohol, and injects herself with an insulin shot. And at this point, I went from being completely angry to so empathetic, because I realized what I had just witnessed is what I could have became. You know, suffering from anxiety and depression and using food as a coping mechanism to mask how I was feeling. I could have been no different than her. The difference is that I was lucky enough to be given a second path, you know, to be shown a different way of living. And what if this woman never came in encounter with that? And here I was judging her, doing nothing but for helping her. And so I start crying in the middle of the airport. Now she really thinks I'm nuts. She's like, this person's looking at me like I'm so mad for like 30 minutes. Now she's crying. Like, what is going on? But because there was just a shift that happened, and I realized that from then on, it was my mission to be just as real as possible, sharing experiences and helping people understand that it's a lot deeper than the outside than what we think. When we see someone that's overweight and we want to judge them, or we see someone that is on all of these medications and we want to judge them for that, or they're eating at McDonald's, you know, what if they were never taught what we were? And so how can we be that bridge to help those people in a different way? And I chose to focus on the food and mood because of my own experiences, and because I saw it relevant from the people that I came in contact with. So this idea of emotional eating, stress eating, and choosing food as love, really, as a form of comfort to kind of fill a void. So that's kind of my introduction to junk foods and junk moods. And in it, I really lay out this recipe, what I call, to health and happiness, which is to think good thoughts, eat real food, love yourself, and repeat as necessary. Because I think it's really easy to get off the bandwagon when you're going through those things. And I think that each one of those is such a crucial component, because if you feel bad about yourself, you'll probably eat more because you don't care, and then you think poorly about yourself, and you kind of hate yourself. If you think bad about yourself, you don't love yourself, which might cause you to eat. If you eat a lot and you gain weight and you don't feel good about yourself, then you don't think good about yourself. And so it's this cycle that I found that one of those elements was missing, and it would affect the whole thing. And let's face it, we're imperfect people. So sometimes you get off, and you got to repeat as necessary, because sometimes you got to like get yourself thrown back in on the right track. So today I wanted to talk, I guess, and then we can open it up for any questions, but about the eat real food part, since that's something that we discuss as far as summer foods. And I happen to have another book that I wrote called The Bliss Cleanse that focuses, it's basically junk foods and junk moods put into a cleanse. So it deals with emotional cleansing as well as physical cleansing as far as seasonal eating goes. All the recipes, it's basically an elimination diet. So There's no wheats, no gluten, dairy, soy, any of that. Yeah, did I say dairy? Yeah, no gluten, dairy, soy, and no meat products. But it does say if you start to feel, and you need, some people, need meat, to choose an organic meat product. But with that, we created seasonal eating lists, seasonal shopping lists. So I kind of just wanted to briefly talk about, just with the summer, it's getting hot out there. It was hot, then it got cool, now it's a little hot. Pittsburgh, you never know. You never know what you're going to get.
With the pirate season, it's going to be hot.
Yeah.
Pirates are hot.
Yeah, they're hot, so hopefully it'll stay hot, right? But summer is really, we think, light and cooling, so your food should be that as well. It's harder to eat, root vegetables or really hearty things in the summer. Our bodies just don't naturally crave that. So one of the things, and I just wanted to share maybe 2 little recipes or tips that I had from that, and I'll hand out the recipes to you as well. But with the summer foods, cooling, kind of less is more. We tend to crave a lot less in the summer because we're kind of naturally outside and things like that. So 2 of the little recipes that I have are just very simple, that you can make whenever you need just a cool down, a treat, and they're good for your mood too. So one of them is simple raspberry bites. So you just take raspberries and you can put a chocolate chip on the inside of it and freeze them. And so it's great for kids too, because just quick snack, but then they're kind of cooling and refreshing. And then you've probably seen this one before, but I just had them today actually. I was going to make them for here, but then they turned out kind of sloppy and I was a little embarrassed, so I didn't want to bring them. But they were, we call them chunky monkey bites, where you just take a banana and make it, cut it into little coins, and then put peanut butter on it, and then top it with a banana, and then freeze them too. So that makes a nice little cooling summer treat. So I had those this afternoon. And then with the peanut butter, you get the protein, so the sugar's not causing your blood sugar to spike. But yeah, really just wanted to hit on the junk foods and junk moods, the importance of that. And I know we wanted to talk a little bit about the cooling foods, but I do have a sheet for everyone, so it talks about, and we could even give this to you to put online.
Yeah, we'll put it up with the video online.
Yeah, that'd be great, because there's summer food, so it goes over all different summer foods, how to eat with the seasons, and then when you do eat with the seasons, what to think of.
Sure, yeah, that'd be great to put up.
So,
awesome.
Yeah.
Anybody got any questions?
Any questions?
Jan just joined us.
Thanks for coming.
Okay. Well, I really appreciate, just to reiterate, your 2 books are The Bliss Cleanse,
Yeah.
and The Junk Foods and Junk Moods, and they can find you at foodmoodgirl.com.
Yeah, foodmoodgirl.com, and I'm on social media and all that
Tell
fun
me,
stuff.
how well is all this message being received by your clients? How do people take this?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been very, very well received. I've been very blessed with the work that I've been doing. It's also it's up and coming, the whole concept of food and mood. I got into it when not a lot of people were talking about it. People are talking about it now, but it's still a really fresh topic. And client-wise, I mean, it's just incredible to see the subtle shifts in people's life when they realize that there's other things that were maybe hindering them. For example, one of my success stories, it was actually just on WTAE, was a man named Jim Zanetti from West Mifflin, and he weighed over 600 pounds. And most people look at someone that's 600 pounds and say, well, you did this to yourself. In a sense, yes, he did that to himself. But when you hear the backstory of it, it makes sense. He was a very hard worker. He worked for the mill, then started his own business working. He actually was a former addict, and he got clean, and then he started working. So work was his new vice. And he loved working, was passionate about what he did, started a business, and then it was a painting business, and he fell. And he hurt his knee, so he was off work for about, they told him 6 to 8 months. Well, in that time, he couldn't do anything. He felt helpless. He felt like he had no purpose anymore. And he turned to food to kind of help him cope through that. And, years later, 10, 15, 20 years later, just day by day making those choices, unhealthy choices to, mask how he was feeling led him to be over 600 pounds. And when we started working together, you know, just very depressed, very reliant on certain things heavily, and he's since lost about 200, so he's down to 400 pounds. And he's just like, well, he told me, he's like, if I can do it, anyone can, you know, because I was heavily addicted to food. It's not even about, you know, food and mood, like, oh, I'm sad, I want a candy. It's like, no, this is someone that fully every day woke up thinking, how can I get my next fix of XYZ, whatever it happened to be. So with that, you know, that's an extreme case. But I think that shows a lot, because what's going on in someone's life that is causing them to do this. And for a lot of people, it is a sense of purpose. Even addiction, I know, coming from a family of addicts, including my dad, who I was telling you a little bit about, when he was going through his cancer treatments, he went back to drinking. And it's like, you know, he knew cancer, you know, you should not drink, but he lost the sense of himself, and he lost weight, and so he didn't feel like he was even his own person anymore. And so how do we help these people when they're going through these things? Because those emotional issues can lead people down this road. So.
Well, I think you're doing great work.
Thank you.
Appreciate you being here.
Yeah, I appreciate. Thanks everyone too for
everybody.
having me. Appreciate